The moment you discover your spouse's infidelity, it doesn't just shatter your world, it makes it implode. The pain is unbearable. Divorce feels like the only option. But is it? Wayne Baker, licensed professional counselor and contributor of our EMS Weekend Retreat, will help us navigate the agonizing decision of divorce after infidelity. He will guide us through some of the emotions, options, and paths to healing. I know firsthand how disorienting and overwhelming it is to discover that the person you love, someone who has promised to protect and cherish you forever, has broken that promise. When your spouse is unfaithful, it can leave you feeling so incredibly isolated, as if the world has collapsed around you and now you're just somehow supposed to make it through, all on your own. But you're not alone in this pain. There is support and hope available. So listen in as Wayne discusses the complexities of divorce after infidelity. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay connected to more great content.
Historically, marriages is based on this system called oneness, where two become one. And the paradigm of oneness is somewhat like taking two cats and tying their tails together and then instructing them to get along, to drink out of the same water bowl, to go catch some supper. It's no longer about wanting what you don't have. Now it's connected to another at the hip, and we've got to figure out how to navigate life and life's incredible challenges. Rick says that it's far easier to want what you don't have than to have who you don't want. And at some point during marriage, that latter comes to pass. And if you talk to couples that have been married for any length of time, and if they're honest, that they go through several gyrations of that through a marriage. I think one of the things that makes it difficult is our inability to comprehend this reality. It sets couples up for this painful disappointment down the road. Frequently, marriage just doesn't seem to meet our expectations. If I could speak to an unborn child, I'd try to explain what life is going to be like on the other side, how life is different, and how things like air and light, and try to explain those and what it means to breathe. I've come to believe that the only naivety that exceeds that of entering a marriage is the naivety we exhibit as we exit a marriage when coping with divorce. There's this question that looms, especially in the work I do with couples, is should I leave? Should I get a divorce? While we think we understand the dynamics of coping with divorce, or that we will be able to easily navigate that difficult and life-changing water, it really baffles me sometimes. In fact, I'm not sure I've ever seen individuals in as much pain as those going through this tearing that occurs as a relationship ends. It hurts them, their spouse, their ex-spouse, their children. It's just not easy, and it's certainly not what most anticipate when they decide to divorce. Much like those entering into the union of marriage, those exiting this union seem incapable of hearing or understanding the reality of what waits them. And as a therapist, I can only warn them. I can scream, the bridge is out ahead, you've got to pay attention, but few really do listen. Our pain has a way of blinding us or deafening us to hearing the warnings of what life will soon be like. Some listen and really go to great lengths to ponder what waits them and what they should, if they should take this route or not. Others are dead set on ending the union and are not always acting out of wisdom. They don't even ask the question, should I get a divorce or not? They just act. If you're contemplating the ending of your marriage, please remember you just may be moving to the next level of uncertainty. I'd encourage you to stop, think, ponder whether it might be worth trying to figure out how to make things work out. Or at the very least, attempt a comprehensive last-ditch effort to see if the marriage can be saved. There's a great truth to the fact that there are many couples that are truly surprised at how quickly the perspective can change when they finally get the right help for their situation. And I can tell you, while it may look and even sound impossible, oftentimes there is hope and opportunity for change. Many couples come to us as a last-ditch effort and are surprised at the results they find, since they're now seeing and understanding the issues between them with a much greater sense of urgency and clarity. Should you consider moving forward through a divorce? I don't know. And I don't know what's waiting for you, and no one else is more capable of explaining that reality to you than you can explain air to an embryo. Please understand that coping with divorce, especially following infidelity, is no easy task for anyone. Every situation is uniquely challenging and requires a great deal of patience and strategy before you can finally act. And unless you've talked to what we refer to as a infidelity-specific therapist or resource who can help navigate the complicated waters you're in, I would ask you to pause and try the help of a true expert before you divorce. Alternatively, if you've held on for what seems like an eternity, your spouse's actions continue to show their disregard for any of your consequences and pain, not to mention a future together. You may have come to the point where divorce is your only or your best right option. Let me stress that sometimes our mate is just not safe and they refuse to take actions. We can then be forced with an ultimatum, which no one really wants to make, but sometimes you just have to. I would never recommend anyone stay with a spouse that's abusive, whether physically or verbally. And sometimes divorce might be the only option for you and your children's safety. However, when abuse is not present in your relationship, or there's just this bad feeling of being stuck, I'd say pump the brakes before you just end the marriage. I know from personal experience, both from my parents' divorce and my own, that you want to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be honest and transparent with yourself that you did everything you knew to do before splitting up, because the costs are just too high. We at Fair Recovery are more than happy to help any way we can. There are a variety of methods and specific approaches that you can utilize on our website for help. Specifically, I'd like you to consider attending the EMS online course. Sign-ups are soon, and the details and even testimonials are under the Programs tab at the Fair Recovery website. Thanks so much for joining me again this week, specifically this topic that's really scary and not a whole lot of fun to talk about. Just know that we care deeply about each and every one of you. We just ask you to stay healthy and safe and keep working at it. We're here to support you any way we can.